Good afternoon and welcome to the review of Birdie Wing Season 2. And now we're on episode 9. You know, I didn't get a chance to watch this episode. I really couldn't get it to watch it on Friday. There was a lot of things happened this weekend. I mean, there was it was work. It was the after party at Spin when they did the Street Fighter 6 launch. But I also had to take care of my mom. She just had her shoulder surgery, so I'm taking care of her. So that's why it's taking so long for me to do this video. So bear with me. Like I said, it's going to take some time for me to do videos on a regular basis because of my mother's surgery. So thank you very much for this. Anyway, I saw Birdie Wing a couple of hours ago. And I got to say this. What I'm going to say, I don't care what I'm going to say. Just may trigger a lot of fans. Eve is the GOAT. Eve is the GOAT. No question about it. I mean, ever since the beginning of Birdie Wing, Eve has been improving every step of the way. Not discrediting Aoi. Aoi has stepped up. But if we're talking about a character who gone through so much in her life, not knowing her name, not knowing where she come from, not knowing her mom and dad, or the origins of how it all started, Eve has developed more ways than one. I mean, her new ability, her new bullets, her new rainbow shots, her new finding out her mom and dad, and finding out about Leo, and again, when we talk about Eve, she put herself on the line, like underworld golf, and playing and giving them the business, providing and fighting for her other family. We all forget how Eve is strong, like fierce, competitive. And what I mean by Eve the GOAT, if we're going by like female athletes in anime, you have got to put Eve in your top 3. You gotta put her up there. I get it with all the other female sports animes that we're getting in the long run, but you gotta put Eve up there. And this episode showed me just how I have been an Eve fan since day one. And last week, Eve went through a lot when she performed the Rainbow Bullet Burst. And like anime shows, anime characters that perform a new move comes with a price. And like this episode, there were so many emotions I can't even get right. So let's get right to the review of Season 2, Episode 9 of Birdie Wing. Okay, now, we kick things off with a year of Kazuhito and Leo playing together. They put on a show. This was like a symbol of new age, generation of golf players. Professional golf players isn't it? Now remember, Aoi is pro. So Eve, in order to become pro, she has to win this Europe Women's Open. Okay. Now remember I said generation after generation. Can you imagine Eve and Aoi pass the torch to their trainers? Pass the torch to their golfers? Or, funny way, imagine Eve and Aoi are both moms, and they have their daughters playing golf. Can you imagine that? Yo, Bandai Namco, please do that. But again, okay, now let's go back on Eve. Eve performed the Rainbow Bullet Burst. That took a toll on her, no question. And it's like anime characters that do these specific moves, it comes with a price. So when she performed her Rainbow Bullet Burst again, it took a toll on her body to a point where she had to lay on the bed face down and the butler putting all these needles up like a porcupine. You ever been to those massage places where they put the punctures into these kind of the faces and the chest? You see those things? That's what it did. Now I get it. Let me just say this out the way, because I'm pretty sure everybody on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook is probably put this photo when Eve's backside was showing and her bending down and all four. I'm just saying, that's what y'all thinking. I mean, I'm pretty sure some of y'all was thinking that. But Eve is determined to give it all. She even give Asia and Leo the business. And her caddy, Ichina, we've never talked about Ichina a lot. We never talked about her. But Ichina is one of the best partners Eve has ever had. I mean, her attention to details, how many shots to take, what can she go with this and that. She respects Eve's work. Even the butler telling her, don't have her do a rainbow bullet burst. Don't have her do it again, because she do it again, it's gonna ruin her body. And, looking back on that, it sort of reminds me of the Naruto, and I grew up with Naruto. It reminds me of that match with Rock Lee and Gaara. Remember that match? One of the best tournament matches of all time. Remember Rock Lee went full frontal, and he lost. His gate of life, when he did primary notice, his gate of life. Long story short, after Gaara beat him, crushing his arm and his leg, but Rock Lee did so much on his body. What the medical ninja said, his days as a ninja are over. And in that moment, I'm looking at Eve and I'm like, oh my God, I was scared for her. Guys, I was scared. Yeah, I wanted her to win. Like, we all know she was going to win. No question, we all knew she was going to win. But it's how she won that got us saying she did all of this just to get close to Aoi. You see what I mean? That's the $1 million thing. That's the catalyst of all that, Now, we can't discredit Asia because she put on a performance too, trying to catch up with her charging cannon thing, and shot like a cannon, like Megumi from Konosuba with the explosion. But that's a different topic in another way. But other than that, we seen Eve was struggling, with bandages wrapped around her arms and her legs. She was giving them the business. Now she did try not to do much on her body. She's trying to keep it at a steady pace to win, and she was. But when it's time, when she won, like, I want to do the rainbow burst, I'm going to do it. This kind of broke character, not breaking character, but it's kind of like everybody didn't want her to do it. Ichina didn't want her to do it. Leo didn't want her to do it. Even the butler was like, don't do it. Everybody was telling her not to do it. I'm not saying she was hard-headed, but this is why I like Eve. She's willing to do everything she can to win. Mind, body, spirit, soul. It's doing it for the team. She's doing it for everyone. And I don't blame her for a second. Sorry about that. She's doing it she's just doing this to become pro. She's willing to put her body, her mind, spirit, soul into this. And that's what she did. That's what she did. And even though Ishida didn't want her to do it, and I respect it, even though she didn't want to do it, but the bond that those two have tells you another story. They're going to do it. And then when Eve hit the rainbow bullet burst, you look at the animation on that. The visuals were spot on with that. When she's like, her pain, she had no choice. She hit it with force. Hit that shot with ease. She hit a shot. Now, even though she was about to collapse, I was worried about. I was about to cry. Like, Eve, don't do it. Don't do it. I was about to get emotional. I was about to cry because I'm like, Eve, no. But she did it. I mean, there was moments that she like almost collapsed, but she freaking did it. She shot it. And then that last point of the episode, that last moment, I like how Asia knew she was gonna lose, because she sniffs like, because she don't smell the fear. She don't smell like, I think her ability as a golf player is not only she strikes with force like cannon, but she can also smell the opponents, like in terms of how scared they are, how serious they are. She could tell if they were winning or losing, all that. So in that moment, when Asia saw Eve, she's like, she's gonna win. I can see it in her. I can smell it in her. She's going to win. And then the moment happened. Remember, Eve said she is going to perform a shot of her own. For weeks and months and years, we have seen Eve perform every bullet move. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo. From this moment, we saw her performing the rainbow shot. The rainbow bullet and the rainbow bullet burst. We have seen the light of Eve. And, like each move tells a story. Like when she did this, she did it for Kazuhiro, her father. And her father must be so proud in the heavens. She performed over the rainbow, and in that instant, whoop, boom, right into the golf hole. That is a perfect shot, and she had to win that, and she did with that new move over the rainbow, and in that victory scream. I love how every anime character do the victory scream when they win. Like with her, when she won, she's like, yeah, that fiercest screaming. You see that in every show. You see that in Blue Lock. You see that in Haikyuu. You see that in Yamushi Pedal. You see it in Hajime no Ippo. You see it in Pretenders. But that's how they are. They do that victory scream like, ah, like that. And I love that. So, and I love how Eve wanted to stand. I'm getting teary on this one. I love how Eve just stand tall. Like she didn't want to collapse in front of everybody. She just want to show that, Aoi, I'm ready for you. And that's what Eve did. Now, that part, when Eve collapsed, when Eve collapsed, I don't know what, she did a lot. I'm so proud of Eve. We all are proud of Eve. To just giving them the business, to put her body, soul, mind on the line, just to face Aoi. And she deserved her rest. She deserved it. She really, really deserved it. And I'm not saying it because I'm just saying she needed it. She really did. If you look at Aoi and Eve, who was under more pressure? It was Eve. If you're talking about who had to give them all, it was Eve. Eve had to do so much to get to where she's at. From an underground golfer to an amateur golfer to now being a coming pro. Like she has developed more ways than one than Aoi. I'm not discrediting Aoi, but Eve have done more things just to get to where she's at. And because of that, like I said before, and I'll say it again, Eve is the GOAT. No question. I will put her it's funny, but I'm going to say, it's kind of funny because I will put Eve above all the other golfers that right now, you know what I mean? That's just me. I know I have opinions, but like I said, if Eve in real life was in the Masters or the PGA, or I gotta tell you this, Eve will beat them. I don't give a shit. That's how I feel about this episode. Now, next week is gonna be another warm-up episode. When I mean by warm-up, it's just that after Aoi and Eve becoming pro, whatnot, they gotta train. So this will be like a episode full of training and some kind of answers. More answers than but we'll get to that later if they get to that. But that's how it is. So again, this was a tremendous episode. This is one of the best episodes by Eve so far. And if you're going back to all the Eve moments of her shots, this by far is the best Eve episode we have seen. I'll put this at 1 and 2. I'll put my favorite Eve episode was when she made that shot and she realized when she realized she found out who mom and dad is, and then the answers was right there. That's my second favorite Eve. But this right here is the best Eve episode we have seen. So I look forward for next week's episode of Birdie Wing, and we're getting closer towards the end. I think there's season 3 coming around the corner, depending as judging from this. So we'll see where it goes. So stay tuned for next week's episode of Birdie Wing.